Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soft Bites podcast. Hello, Jorge André. Hello, Olavo. Today we have a special guest with us. Today we are joined by Olavo Guerreiro Viegas. He's a Portuguese dentist, endodontics specialist working in the Netherlands. So welcome, Olavo.
Thank you so much for the
Here.
invitation. Thank you so much for the invitation to both of you, to Andrea and Manuel. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here talking with you, and I hope I'm at the highest level and that you guys expect to have a nice talk in the next hour with me.
We have no expectations. It's just a colleagues conversation.
Yeah, we expect no one to be at their highest level. I mean, we all learn from each other, right? And it's always good to have guesses. I mean, whatever the experience in dentistry, it's always good because we always learn, and you have an interesting path in dentistry. So it's an honor for us to have you here, and thank you for being available to share your journey with us. Because I think that for some of the people listening, especially young dentists, most of them, they think about doing something like you did, like work abroad and opening a practice and just getting interested by some different stuff than dentistry. So I'm sure it's going to be enlightening and interesting for them to hear you.
Let's start by that. Olaf, share with us, why did you choose dentistry? We always ask this question to our guests. Why did you choose dentistry? And share with us a little bit of your journey in dentistry until now. We're going to get more in detail about that, but why did you want to become a dentist? Or did you want to become a dentist, or it was by accident? Because, for example, me and George Andre, we have different paths in dentistry. I chose dentistry in the first place. George Andre wanted medicine. What about you? What was your motivation for dentistry?
I'm in the path of George Andre, really. So I don't know. It's honestly, if I can go back a little bit before dentistry, I must say that at 18 years old, when we have to choose what are we going to do in our let's say studies in the university, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I felt immature, I must say, to pick something, and honestly, no one in my family
Sorry, Olaf. We all. I still feel immature at 46, so don't be.
Sometimes I do too, and I try my best to put. That's why sometimes I let my beard grow a bit, so it feels a bit loaded with wisdom, which not at all. So my family, we have no background in the medical sciences. I don't have any, say, medicine doctor. GP in my family, and so for me, it was always, I think, more my mom's pressure. She was like, "Oh, you should go to medicine. You should go to medicine." What is medicine? When I was young, I loved kids, so I remember saying, "Oh, I want to be a pediatrician." Well, if you ask me now, do I like to treat kids in dentistry? Hell no. So life took a massive turn. And I did apply to when we have the 6 choices in the college, I did place 5. 5 of my picks were towards medicine, and my last pick was the one I know. Okay, I'm going to enter here no matter what, and that was dentistry in Coimbra. And funny enough, not knowing what I would want to do, yes, I was a bit divided. Should I do dentistry? Should I try again to apply to medicine? And in the first year of dentistry, I really fell in love with dentistry. I say, whoa, I really do like this, and I really want to pursue this. And then we have like this little, I think they call introduction to dentistry, and when you start to see a little bit of all the specialties. And I think what fascinated me about endodontics was the fact that was the microscope, I must say. I find it so interesting that you need a device, a tool to see what you are doing inside the tooth, and that most of the times you were not seeing what you were doing. It was just a matter of feeling it. So I remember saying in my third year of dentistry, I want to specialize in endodontics. So it started to build
immediately on the third year.
immediately. Exactly. When you start with we start with the
first sight.
With the preclinical, so we start doing the frame and bridge work and the dentistry. And for me, dentistry and endodontics were my favorite two disciplines inside in the dentistry. And I said yes, I want to pursue endodontics. And I ended up doing in the integrated master's degree, the master thesis also in endodontics. And I must say, so far, still have a great contact with João Miguel from Coimbra, and he really, I think, maybe he found someone that was interested in endodontics and maybe didn't find it that often in his entire academic career. So he said, okay, I'm going to try to convert this one to the endodontic world. And yes, and that was really dentistry. I would call it was not on purpose, but it became what I decided and wanted to do. And if I look back so far, I have no single regret of not having decided to pursue medicine or to pursue any other career.
That's very cool. It's very cool. Before the next question, I'm gonna ask you next question. How did you ended up in the Netherlands? But before that, when you were talking that when you were young, you really liked kids, and now you really don't like to treat kids. It reminded me of a book that I was reading. It's called The Psychology of Money. I know the title is quite American, but it's an amazing book. It really is an amazing book. It's about the way that you deal with money. I was just checking here the author so that I don't say anything wrong. It's Morgan Housel. Very, very nice. The book is very nice. And the main idea is that you make money and you save money in the long term, being patient. That's it. But there's a chapter there that says that we usually we underestimate how our goals change throughout time. So let's say, for example, at this point in time in my life, I just want to have vacations and go to Latin America or whatever. But I can never be sure that this is the same way that I'm going to feel in 1, 2, or 3 or 5 years. So I think it's very interesting that you said, yes, when I was young, I wanted to do this. But then you said that when you were 17, you were extremely immature. And I also think that sometimes it's a little bit violent when you have to ask someone at 18 to decide a path that, especially when you think about medicine and dentistry, it's so, I mean, it's so compromising for the rest of your life. I mean, you study for 5 years in dentistry, and after that, you just have to stick with dentistry. And even medicine is the same thing. So I think that at 18, you believe that you are someone, and 10 years down the road, you are a completely different person. And I was thinking about that. For example, I remember when I was, 15 or 20, the way that I thought that I was going to be when I was 30 or 40 was completely different from the way that I am. Or I just had some very different ideas. So it's very interesting how sometimes we underestimate how the way that we see life really changes, maybe in 5 years and in 10 years. So I think it's much better to be enjoying the process and be accepting the things that happen to us, not in an irresponsible way, but I think we have to sometimes not be as strict with our plans as we think. So let's get back to the question. So how did you ended up in the Netherlands?
So before,
yeah,
before that, I was in France actually. So
okay.
I moved from Portugal to France, and before I was working, I worked for 1 year in Portugal, and I don't want here to be the velho do Restelo. Let's put the Portuguese word here in the.
No. You are here to say exactly what you think, like no one else is listening. Please.
And honestly, for me, I was not happy with the quality of work in Portugal, not with the working hours, not with the working methods. I must say I was quite lucky because I was working with João Miguel, which was totally different. But before that, I had a different experience, and I just felt that I was falling short of what I could deliver to the patients. Um, and knowing that I wanted to specialize and I wanted to pursue a path in endodontics, I decided also when I was 23 that I didn't want to ask for any more money or any more euro from my parents. Said they provided for me, they put me through college, I did dentistry, and now it's my time to be independent. Especially during my studies, my father got really sick, and so it was a big change in my life. It also helped. I felt that in that moment I matured a bit, and I really decided to myself, okay, financially I need to do this on my own. So I decided to move to France because I had some colleagues that were already working there, and I think in that year from 2013 to 2015 or 2012 to 2015, a lot of colleagues that I studied with moved to France, and honestly, I moved to Bretagne in the north of France, Brittany. Like, no, maybe persons just heard about it in the Obelix.
I know Brittany a little bit. Where to in Brittany?
So I was in a really small village named Begard, that is between Lannion and Gangan, and I was there, and my purpose was purely one. It's like there is no such thing as vacations are to go back home to see family.
Work.
Exactly. That was the mentality. Work and you save money. So it felt like a hibernating for a bit with the purpose of really saving money that I was not being able to save in Portugal. In Portugal, I was receiving my salary. I was paying my bills, my house, my utilities, my groceries, and that was it.
Were you able to practice the dentistry that you wanted? Because you said that you also felt short about the dentistry that you're practicing in Portugal. And in France, were you able to?
Partially yes, but still not at the level that I would want to. Actually, I landed in a really good dental office with a microscope that I could at the time. I was super happy by having a microscope and being able to do my root canal treatments. What I did dislike mostly about France was the social security part that you really, if we think about this, I'm just going to give the example that I live the most, that I know the best. If you think that in the social security part, a root canal treatment is costing around 80 to 120 euros, so that in a procedure that is highly technical and that you spend not 30 minutes in it, it was not profitable to be doing it. So in that way, I was still working as a generalist. So you try to compensate with some crowns here and there, frame here and there, and fillings, still doing the cleanings. And the Netherlands, I moved to the Netherlands, and I'm here 8 years later, still in the Netherlands, because I did apply to different postgraduate programs in Europe. I also considered at the time perhaps applying to postgraduate programs in America, but the price was a bit different than Europe. And I was accepted in 2016 in Amsterdam, in ACTA. So right 1.5 years, more or less, a bit less than that, after moving to France, there I am packing all my stuff again, putting everything in a van and driving from Brittany to French Brittany to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam.
To Amsterdam.
And yes, so I really I moved here to study without knowing a single word of Dutch. So at the stage, I couldn't even say good morning in Dutch, as soon as weird as it sounds.
And
And
you did your masters in Netherlands? You had to do
no,
it or
so
English?
the patient contact is in Dutch.
Yeah.
The rest of the training is in English. Of course, patients do understand that there are some international residents in the program, and the Netherlands has a good level of English. They might be one of the countries in the entire world that speaks really good English as a second language.
But you speak
And
you speak Dutch now, huh?
yes. Now I do. We still
Like, yeah.
with some. Everybody says with a Flemish accent. I don't know why. I never had any
Yeah,
contact, but
because I'm in Belgium. I speak
Being
Netherlands also, not completely fluent, but I notice the accent of the Netherlands different from the Belgian one. So I noticed that.
so yeah, and moved here the program. So it was also actually I just in the sense that we were talking about moved here. So I went to the bank in Portugal, asked for a loan, so I could cover my tuitions. And the 3 years of the program, I was 4 days per week in the university and using the self-study day. Maybe now, well, I can say this now because it's 6 years. I'm not going to take my diploma away. My self-study day to work, and also on Saturdays. So I was literally for 3 years. I was working Fridays and Saturdays, going to the university Mondays to Thursdays, and on Sundays you need to dive into the books and you need to dive into the articles. So we're really 3 intense and 3 loaded years, and especially you land in a different country, different culture, different habits. The weather in the Netherlands, it's not the best, so I keep on saying I miss the weather of Portugal and the food. Those are the two things that I would say that I miss the most. So my family is not going to be happy if I say I don't miss them, but really those were the two things. And then from that moment onwards, I just kept staying here in the Netherlands. I can totally say that I am practicing the dentistry that I knew in 2013 when I was in Portugal in 2014, that I knew I could practice. And it's never too. I'm really a perfectionist person, but I had to learn also to let that go and to try to achieve excellence instead of perfectionism, because yeah, perfectionism doesn't exist, but because we are human beings, and I've tried to be repeating the same procedures daily and daily and daily. And at this moment, I must say that I'm really quite happy with the quality of care that I'm delivering to the patients. And in the Netherlands it might be the first country, it is the first country for sure, where I feel that I'm, financially speaking, being well rewarded by all the training and by all the years that I have invested in myself. So it's for the prices here are fixed by the government. The government sets the maximum price, but the prices are, I would say, reasonably good. And it was. I will tell a funny story afterwards, but we can discuss more about the prices in depth in a few moments.
Just to finish the about your journey in dentistry, I'm going to get back to the endodontics, because for I think endodontics, it's like a specialty that's or you love or you hate, and I'm in the part of hating it. I don't like it. I don't know about
me
Andre.
too.
Andre, do you like endodontics?
Exactly. No, I'm lousy, and because I'm lousy, I don't like it.
But because we were talking about choices, and sometimes the choices that we made then later, they are not for us anymore. No regrets about endodontics until now, no doubts about endodontics. I see it was love at first sight, and you keep and you are still in love with endodontics, right? So what
Yeah.
microscope? It was the part that you don't see it, but you have to have that feeling. What you love about endodontics?
So the first thing that I really like about endodontics is the fact that you can get a patient out of pain in a couple of minutes. So really not even talking about the anesthesia. You have a patient coming in with a pulpitis. You know that in 30 minutes, less than that, when the anesthesia wears off, that patient is going to have less pain than when they enter the office. That was the first thing that I was trying to compare in medicine and dentistry, to help a patient, to help a person. And that was one of the first things that I honestly, nowadays I hate doing emergencies, because for me doing emergencies just ruins my schedule and just ruins my agenda. So nowadays I don't like to do the emergency, but I still do have and this is going to be maybe it's a weird player for an endodontist, but I really love having that black radiolucency above the apex of a tooth, and you see the patient 1 year later and it's gone or it shrunk. So it's, I don't know, maybe only endodontists have this feeling of happiness, and it's a weird feeling of happiness. I think there are better things to get happy about. And then I really endodontics also in the sense is the fact that it's really a precise work. It's more than millimetric. It's really, everything is so small, and the details. And I'm really, since I even could say that maybe I'm a bit of my OCD. I'm really, since I remember, have this attention for details. I can be walking on the street, or I can be in a place, and I will remember the most absurd thing that nobody noticed, and I will notice that really small thing. And that's why I really like about endodontics is the precision of the work, and all the technology that came with endodontics. Endodontics hasn't changed a lot in the last I say last 20, 30 years. Microscopes were introduced, but nothing changed about the outcome of the procedures. Ultrasonics were introduced, nothing changed about the outcome of the procedures. But still, the way endodontics has been integrating, especially nowadays with lasers and other kinds of tools, we can make the procedures much faster with the rotaries. It's just, I really like the technology, and I always try to embrace the technology, sometimes without waiting enough time to see if the technology is really going to shift the needle towards a better patient care. But I really like the precision of working in endodontics. And also microbiology was one of the things that I really enjoyed when I was in dentistry, that and histology. So microbiology, histology, and endodontics, they all go together. And for the moment, I'm still in love with endodontics. I ask myself if in 20 years I will still be in love with endodontics. It's sometimes I ask myself, am I going to be doing the same in 20 years? What is going to change? And that's one of the things I think that I'm most afraid of, is to get bored of endodontics. And not just per se bored of seeing the healing, but boring of the repetition and doing the same every day. And it's never the same. The anatomy is always different, but that's one of the things that I'm more afraid of. And I always use the other day I was talking with one of my colleagues, and I tend to use the example of Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo was, everybody can say, one of the best football players in the world, and now maybe we can say that he's still one of the best football players in the world, but not perhaps playing at the same level that he was 5 or 7 years ago. And that's what I'm really, that's for me is the moment that I'm going to say to myself, if in 10 years I feel that I'm not delivering the same quality I'm delivering now, then I need to rethink my choices. But those are my fears for the future. But so far I'm in love, and I don't want to think about the divorce yet.
Okay. So I was just listening to you, and I was And I was thinking, so you said you're afraid of two things. Number one was that you get bored, right? And number two is that you're not good enough, like in 10 or 15 years. So those are two different things, right?
Yes,
So
I would say so. Yeah.
And so you went, but you enjoy the academic part of the profession. I wouldn't necessarily say, when I say academic part, I'm not saying necessarily that you want to give classes or whatever. But you're a nerd of the profession, right? I mean, you enjoy understanding. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you are right. You are totally
You
right.
like it, right?
I love it.
Well, and the way that I see that, I don't think that nerds like myself, and I am one of them, we never fall out of love of things, you know? Because nerd guys, they always find nerdy things to fall in love with, always. So don't be afraid of that. Now, the other thing is, if you are afraid of not being good enough, let me tell you that sooner or later you'll feel that. And I don't think that you will stop doing endodontics because of that. So this is just my little piece of advice. So number one, I don't think you'll get bored out of endodontics because new things will arrive and you'll just fall in love with the little things that are going to come along. And number two, I don't think that you should stop doing endodontics just because you feel you're not good enough. I mean, if you're 90s and you tremble, then yes, you should stop, right? But otherwise, I don't think you should worry about that, because one of the things that you followed dentistry was because you wanted to do things right, correct? That
Yes,
was one of the things. Yeah. So I don't think you should be afraid of that. You'll always fall in love with every little thing. So, and what do you think in your career were some of the biggest challenges? Because you said that you packed your stuff in your car and you drove from Brittany to the Netherlands to attend the master, right? And then you decided to stay in the Netherlands, right? So you did that all alone? Were you always alone? Portugal, France, Netherlands?
No, I was at the time with my ex-girlfriend. So I first moved alone to France, and then
She's not listening, so it's fine. Don't worry.
well, even if she would, so at that stage she was a big support, of course, and we just followed the
And she
different
still
paths and
is.
different
And she
routes. And she
still
still
is.
is. She
Of course.
you know,
Why was she? I mean, she still is, isn't it?
the
To
person that
us,
we
sorry.
cross paths with, they always shape parts of us. So that's for sure. And
Of
that
course.
was she moved with me to the Netherlands, and was also, I think, those moments. So was a long-term relationship that when I was in my second year of the residency that we broke up, and also when I was in France, those the my father passed away, and so
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, and it was quite young, and it was really a massive eye opener, because I said to myself, yeah, in a
This is
finger
it.
snap, yeah, you what, so you start to readjust your. For me, I started to readjust my priorities,
So
and
sorry. Before you go on, can you just tell us what changed with your father having passed away? I mean, was money all of a sudden started to money and security started to play a major role in your long-term interests, for example? Was that it?
no, no, no. When I was in the university, my father got sick for the first time, and in at that moment, my mom also lost her job. Was when we had the financial crisis of
Yes.
2008.
Okay.
In that moment, so that moment was a bit more challenging, because
Okay.
my parents did at two. Me and my brother, we were both at the university at the same time.
Okay.
Luckily, we were in the same city, but we were living in two different places.
So it
But
was difficult, financially
it was
difficult.
financially, it was really difficult for my parents, and I know that
Yeah.
my mom made a really big effort. That's why I was saying, when I told before, that at 23 I said to myself, no, I need to be financially independent. I really
Yes.
need to be on my own, no matter what costs me. Even if I have to take two jobs, I have to do it. um, and when my father really passed, I tend to say this because he was sick for a long time. I can say I felt a relief, to be honest,
I understand.
and I don't really have any shame in saying that, because for me was the let's say that for the 4 to 5 years that my father was sick, it was not my father anymore. That was not the memory that I wanted to have from him. And in that stage, it's really an eye opener. And my father never pushed me to do anything. He always let me to do whatever I would want to do. But also with his situation, my father had a in 74, 25th of April, lived all those academic revolutions, and also in Lisbon, and he was a really reserved person and never really shared a lot about that. But he really always put me at ease to you do whatever you want and you tailor your path. So for me, when it did pass, I think the biggest change was I really need to do something also, or get more active, or do some changes in my daily life, because I don't want at the age of 60 something to have a health issue and then just do not see my newborn, for example, graduating or growing older or anything. So it was a bit of an eye opener. So that massive change really struck me. It's more in the sense of getting more active, and I'm not per se. I'm nowadays I also not as active as I would
To
wish
start
with
taking better care of yourself.
Yes, because we all know that dentistry is quite we sit the entire day. We sit for 7 to 8 hours a day, and I try to stretch a lot. But even today, I was in the office with my colleagues, and one of my colleagues, one is 32 years old, and the other one is 43 years old, and one was complaining of back pain. The other one was complaining of feeling his leg numb, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just complaining I don't get enough sleep, but so, but that's a different story. And that was one of the changes. And then one of the challenges also, I would say, is moving to the Netherlands. That was one big change, because culturally speaking, a totally different mindset than even France or even Portugal. And I needed to get used to I can tell a funny story. I didn't know anything about the language, so I get to the Netherlands, and my part of my family is from Alentejo in the south of Portugal, and we always had that bread from Alentejo at home. And
They're from Alentejo?
they are from the Corte Pinto.
Bétula?
Exactly, around that. And we always had that delicious bread at home. And my family also comes from a Catholic background with the cross in the bread. Well, I'm sure we all. And I arrived to the Netherlands and loving bread also, and I tried to find bread in the supermarket, and not understanding what was written in the package, I was eating bread for a week that was supposed to go in the oven for 5 to 8 minutes, and I was eating it raw like that. Until I said, Jesus, those guys really don't have nice bread in this country. So until I figured out, oh damn, you are the stupid one that you are eating the raw bread. So and it's all the challenge. You get all the letters in a language, and at that stage nowadays with Google Translate, you just take your phone out and you take a picture and you get the translation, and you can use ChatGPT to draft an answer in Dutch back at it. But it was starting everything from scratch. It was starting to, okay, where do I need to go to open my company? How I can do my taxes? Where I do my groceries? Like even finding olive oil. And I always said to myself, I don't want to be the Portuguese abroad that is just going to relate himself with Portuguese persons, and he's going to have his little Portugal outside Portugal and never be fully integrated in the society. So learning Dutch, and is still so tough. I can communicate in Dutch, but still at home we speak English. My girlfriend doesn't speak a word of she can
it's
say
exactly me also. Me and Michelle, my other friend, we also is Belgium, and we also speak English because I'm also not fluent in Netherlands. So it's exactly the same. It's not easy. It's not an easy language, huh?
No, and Anais, she's French, but she also moved here for work. So it's
Is
always
she a
quite easy
dentist? Sorry.
no, she works for Nike, so she's in the corporate world, totally different. And honestly, she brings a lot of nice perspective to the management part of the job. That's something that
Very nice.
I
So
really
that
enjoy talking with
we
her.
will also like to ask you regarding that. So one of the challenges, I mean, it is a big challenge to do just to wake up one day and realize that basically you have to count on yourself and you have to be financially independent. You have to create a career and eventually pursue your goals, because if you don't do it, no one else will, right? By the way, your mom, is she okay?
Yes.
Cool.
She's enjoying her pre-retired
That's cool.
life, so she's super happy to be a grandmother
Cool.
at this stage. So
Cool.
she's thanks for asking.
And one of the challenges, of course, is opening a practice, right? You have opened or you're about to open the practice in the Netherlands. Can you tell us about that?
So the practice was already open. I just bought in
Okay.
the
Okay.
practice. So this practice was, and that's also something that it was something that challenged me a bit. So this practice was started by a colleague of ours,
I
Ron
would say
Ferrer.
that a bit is a little bit undervaluing the challenging, because trust me,
No,
you will realize it won't be a bit. But go on,
it
sorry.
it's a lot. To be honest, no, it's really a lot. This practice started maybe around 17 years ago, or more than of 17, something like 17 years ago, I think. I think I'm wrong in the date, but by Ron Fransman, and Ron was a really peculiar colleague, I must say. Ron, I never worked really together with Ron, but when I
So that was the owner that
the
opened the
previous
practice. Okay.
exactly, and Ron was really a person, also a perfectionist. And I still remember some episodes with Ron when I started working in the office. Like we all do, I was asking for temporary filling and I'm asking for a caveat. And I exit my room and I have Ron with a post-it on his hand with the name of the temporary filling they were using. And it was just like listening to me working on the background and trying to coach. You see, that's how I would say controlling, but how Ron wanted us to excel in what we were doing. Then my colleague Roberto, because Ron also got sick. Ron passed a few months ago from lung cancer. He was also battling against it for a few years. Roberto was first co-owner of the office with him when I worked in 2019. Just Roberto just really lured me with time to work 5 days. So I first was working in 3 different places, then I went from 3 to 2, and then eventually just felt that my place was at that practice. So then so now we're turning 24. So after 5 years of working there, I I said to Roberto, okay, look, I would like to join in because it just feels the right step for me to do. I'm working here 5 days. Um, I don't see myself working anywhere else. So, and Roberto immediately agreed on it, and we share a really nice personal slash professional relationship, and we are quite good at separating both things. So, and honestly, this is I'm not listening to you. I don't know if I have
Because
something.
our
Oh,
microphone
sorry.
was up,
I'm
so
sorry.
that's
So how long
you.
have you been, for how long have you both took the practice? How many years?
So last year was the first year that we were starting to
Okay.
share some management decisions, but on
Okay.
paper, this is the first year that, so 2024 is the first year that I'm on paper really owning half of the office. And like you
Cool.
said, it's quite a challenge. Is I'm not afraid to say this. One of the most difficult things that I know
Of course.
that I've experienced is people management, managing persons.
Okay.
It has to be one of the most challenging things in the entire. It's not ordering. It's not having to bargain with suppliers and say, hey, you are asking me too much money for this handpiece or for this composite.
Yeah.
It's really managing persons and trying to. The right term I would say leadership, and that comes with the
And
soft
it's
skills.
yes, and it's sorry to interrupt. In the Netherlands, there's one additional layer, which is this is my opinion. I think the labor is excessively protective. You can have a nurse that just says that she won't be coming today. That's something very common in the Netherlands. You just have to accept that, right or wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's a good, or I'm not saying that is from a social point of view or from a political point of view. I'm not even judging that. I'm just saying that from a leadership perspective, that can be a really shitty situation to be in, and there's just nothing that you can do about that. So I think if I was there, a big part would be training your acceptance, right, and try to navigate that, right.
So, for example, for us, and that's what's happening, and it might be not a really proper management. So we have two assistants that we call them the floaters. So in case someone calls in sick, the floater can jump in and be in the room with us. So we also don't have a favorite assistant or a favorite
I
nurse.
understand.
So they all need to learn how to work with everybody. But in order to compensate that, we have quite a good team, and honestly, it doesn't happen that often with us. But then it comes also to the financial responsibility of managing an office.
Yes.
Every day that the chair is not working, the bills are still coming in. So, and I honestly, I've worked without an assistant, but if you ask me tomorrow to work without an assistant, I'm going to ask the reception desk, please call in my patients and reschedule them, because it just doesn't feel natural to work without an assistant for the health issues, the back, and the stress that it also adds to your day.
But it's and do you have to pay those nurses? Someone that just calls in and said that calls in sick and said, do you have to pay them?
Yes. When they call in sick, you still have to pay them, and of course it's only after a certain period of time that then you can either ask for the government to intervene in the sense of the social fund or something like that. But yeah, if somebody says, I'm having a cold, our assistants work on the amount of hours so they can try to build up the hours. But we try. It's like I said, managing the staff is one of the most difficult things, and honestly, so far I cannot complain of our staff. But somehow most of our dental nurses are from the Philippines. Don't ask me why. I don't. Well, the current practice manager is from America, but she has a background from the Philippines, and I must say nothing against the work ethics of other nationalities, but their work ethics. It's really.
There's a reason why there's a reason why some of the most sought after nationalities in terms of virtual assistants, they are Philippines. Yeah, they are. And it's always a little bit tricky when you try to group people, or these are that and these are that. But that's just it is what it is. But you just have to play the game, The game is set in that way in the Netherlands. So you just have to play the game, and because there's nothing that you can do about it, right? So just have to, like what you said. So you have two floating nurses, so you have two extra salaries that you have to pay just to deal with that, right? So
exactly.
It's just the part of the game. Another question, and don't get me wrong by saying this. Did you and your partner ever had a talk about what will happen if you want to split, if you want to end the partnership? I know this is a difficult answer, but it is a good one, This is something that I would certainly do if I was into a partnership. It could be even with my best friend, but I would just have a very honest conversation about that. I mean, of course, with some good sense, I would probably say something like this: look, all is going very well. I think this is very nice, but okay, if we disagree on something in the future, do you think, and again, this is not something I want to do, but if we do that, if that happens, and God hope it doesn't happen, and this is why I'm having this conversation, right? So what will happen? What will be the consequence? Will we be able to deal with this professionally, responsibly, drama-free and stuff like that? Have you ever thought about that?
Yes, we did cover a lot of we had a lot of talks before putting things on paper and signing the deeds of the term, and that was one of the reasons that with Roberto things go so smoothly and so easily. We share the same, I would say, core values and principles. And Roberto is a really smart person that really led the office on the right track. And we covered, for example, if tomorrow I die for any reason, Roberto has the right to buy my share of the office, which is the first right to buy. And for example, that won't stay to my family, because neither my partner, neither my son, for the time being, they have any background in dentistry, and that's what we don't want anyone that doesn't know can know the principles of business but not the business of dentistry to just come and say, okay, I'm going to start doing some stuff here now that Olavo passed. So we also did that. If Roberto wants to move or to stop working, I also have the first right to buy his share, and we have the 50-50 now. And that was interesting because one of our colleagues suggested, oh, you guys should do 51-49. And so to have that 1% difference, and we said we don't want that. And so far all our decisions are we really talk about it, and sometimes we might disagree of something, and we just say, you know what, let's reflect on it, let's talk it through on a different moment. And honestly, we did try to cover as much as possible, but and it's a partnership that is going well, and of course some other partnerships might not go that well, but we try to cover as much as possible regarding the decision making, the vision for the future. So before we decided to agree on a deal, we asked ourselves, okay, how do you foresee the office in 5 years' time? Because if I would say, oh, I do foresee the office with 20 rooms, and he would say, oh no, I would just sit with 3 rooms, clearly we are not aligned on something. So, and for us, all the answers we got and all the discussions we had so far, so I will knock on wood here next to me, and it's going really well. And I really also, Roberto, we are also partnering in starting the training center in the Netherlands, and he's really just a person that, not professionally, is an amazing clinician, but personally he's also an amazing human being.
Let me continue there, because you mentioned the training center, and going back to the leadership part that you also already mentioned, because we met because of the leadership course that you were interested, and in the meanwhile you invited us to go to
Exactly.
Amsterdam. So I because you and Roberto, your partner, are starting this training center, just like you said. So tell us a little bit about that, because you are starting past a little bit outside dentistry, so dentistry related, but your leadership role, now that you have your part in the clinic, now with starting the training center. Tell us a little bit about this new Olavo, that's not just the endodontist, Olavo the leader, Olavo the builder of a training center. How is that going, and what was the inspiration for starting this training center?
So the first thing that made me that I got to know both of you was really regarding the course, the conscious leadership in dentistry. And I honestly must say that nobody teaches us soft skills in the 5 years of dentistry. Okay, we have ethics, but my ethics training were reading the deontology code of the Portuguese Dental Association, but nobody teaches you anything else. Nobody teaches you how do you handle the patient, how do you handle the staff, how do you handle your nurse, how do you and the other thing is finances. Nobody ever told me. I didn't even know to make a damn invoice after finishing the 5 years of dentistry. And even nowadays, I do really believe that dentistry is really just focused on getting the hard skills that you really need to know how to do your class one with the rounded edges and etc. in your root canal treatment like this. But when you are, let's say, thrown to the sharks outside, you really notice that dentistry is a lot more than just the hard skills and the soft skills and the finances and investing. Also here in the Netherlands, we work as a freelancer, so I think my past 2 or 3 years were just really focused on, okay, how am I going to prepare for my pension, my retirement funds, and all that. This was for me. That was one of the triggers to say, okay, you know what? There's so much to learn about this, and everybody should get access to it. And funny enough, I was just like googling leadership trainings and came across the Simon Sinek courses and everything, and I was saying, okay, yeah, this is a bit of a different, I'd say, financial place that I'm not per se ready to invest. I would invest totally, and say, okay, there has to be something tailored to dentistry. I cannot believe that nobody ever during these entire years didn't have the idea of doing something about leadership in industry. That's when I came across you guys, and I say, okay, I'm going to join that course. Unfortunately, there was that situation, that personal situation that happened and didn't make it possible to join in, and and I really think that was, you guys were one of the first triggers for me to say, okay, this is a really important topic, and that's where we are starting actually in our catalog of courses. We are starting with you guys, because I really do believe that before knowing how to stick a file inside a canal, there's much more behind that, and we cannot forget about that. So the way that I decided to do the training center, I discussed with Roberto. Roberto has been running a training center in Romania for many years now. And Roberto said, okay, I don't really want to start it in the Netherlands. We talked about it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, until Roberto said, oh, you know what? Let's do this. And I said, you know what? Let's do it. And I really do feel that the endodontics still have a really, it might be one of the most done treatments in dentistry. Dentistry, the so conventional dentistry and endodontics might be one of the two most done treatments in the world. And for me, I had a really interesting discussion. I was in Japan and I visited a colleague there, and we were discussing fees. We were discussing about what are the fees in Japan, what are the fees in the Netherlands, and he really said something. Look, we are one of the few specialties that can save a natural tooth. Why would we not charge more than the placement of an implant, for example? Which doesn't happen in the Netherlands, but in Japan, apparently, they do charge more for a root canal treatment than the placement of an implant. And it really, before that, I was already saying, I really want proper root canal treatments to be taught to everyone. And usually it feels like this is the Achilles heel of dentistry. Is nobody likes endodontics. But then I ask myself, is it because has endodontics been taught on the right track, on the right manner? And that's what I want to do. I really don't want to. I hate these was one of the things that I hated the most in Portugal, and that also was a big cultural change when I moved to the Netherlands. In Portugal, we have the professor, and we are used to say professor, doctor, whatsoever.
It doesn't exist in Netherlands, right?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Belgium also not.
First name basis, and the first name basis is really.
No, when someone calls me doctor, I find it negative. Who are you talking to?
And that's why we wanted to start really the training center, because we want to like really have a familiar environment, and to create also a support network for the future. So we really want to break those barriers that do exist, and we really want. And honestly, I always say endodontics is quite easy. Is if the principles are followed and respected, I think I could try to teach my kid when he's 6 years old to do a root canal treatment, and I will try for sure. It's one of my projects for the future to make him try to do a root canal treatment, and I just believe that so far endodontics hasn't been properly taught, and I really want to change that. I really want to start. Like quoting a bit of Simon Sinek, start with the why we do what we do, and then only after knowing the why we can talk about the what and the how. So the how is going to be really the last part of the course, and that's why we are doing this training center to really show that you don't need to be an endodontist to do proper root canal treatments, as long as you follow and respect the principles, and the principles are quite simple. We don't want to give a cookbook recipe, but it's just understand why you do what you do, and that's really how we are planning our classes and everything. And there are not a lot of courses in the Netherlands about endodontics, so I'm quite an opinionated person about root canals and about how things should be done. And I said, you know what, I don't agree with how some things are being taught. So just be the change, just be the difference, just try to shake a bit the scene. And I said to Roberto, there are two options. It either goes well or it either what doesn't go well. So let's take the risk.
Either way, it's a win, because you are trying something. You are moving the needle. That's the whole point, isn't it? Whatever happens, at least you tried. You had an idea. You tried to implement it. It may be good. It may be not good. I mean, that only God knows. Only the gods know. But I like the way that you are driven about it. The way that you speak about the project. I mean, there's a why behind, and I love that. That's you're not doing it only for the money, I'm sure.
No.
And people feel that, the people feel that. So it may go very well, it may be not very well, but whatever, you always learn, and at least you tried something. And I agree with you. I think dental education is still very I think we have to rethink. I think that the whole education system is about to suffer a huge change. For example, in our courses, we give we run 2 courses in Portugal about oral rehabilitation twice a year. So and they cross both of the editions. They cross. It's 12 people for 21 days spread throughout the year. That's one edition, and we do 2 editions per year. And we've been doing that for quite a long time. And one of the things that I realize is that closing people in a room for 8 hours with 3 breaks, middle in the morning, lunch, middle in the afternoon, it's something that I think this style of teaching will have to change, because it's very difficult to keep people motivated listening to you. Either the format has to change, of course, and the online component is a big part of it. Micro learning is a big part of it. More regular breaks is a big part of it. I don't know exactly what the future will be, but I think it's a huge opportunity for creative people to rethink the way that education is done. And dentistry is particularly special because, like you said, no one teaches us the why, right? And also no one teaches how to be mentally sane and financially sane and with a good working environment in the long term. And this is exactly what we will try to discuss and learn with each other when we go there. So you were saying that you were talking to some of your colleagues. One of them was 30, and he was complaining about some leg pain. The other one about back pain. I mean, you have a baby now. It's difficult. You don't sleep that much. I know it's difficult. And one of the things that I read today is that there's only gonna be 3 things that have the potential to really change your life, and they are very interesting. It's love, loss, and the last one is the other one that you can actually control, which is discipline. And discipline is probably one of the things that is more undervalued in our life. And when I mean discipline, I mean the discipline to take good care of yourself, whether it's meditation, whether it's time off, whether it's especially exercise. And if there was an advice that I would give to my younger self when I was your age, it would certainly be discipline. Discipline regarding my body, and discipline regarding my health, especially my mental health and my physical health. So one of the things, my biggest piece of advice would be to really be disciplined regarding your own health. And one way of doing that is just pay someone to take care of it. Just pay a personal trainer to like three or 4 times a week, because the return of that, the ROI of that, I don't think you have any idea how important it is in dentistry. For example, I've started to do that for, I would say, the last 5 or 10 years, and my life is completely different for the better. I mean, you spend money on personal trainers, you spend money on nutritionists, you spend money of taking more time off, of course, but the returns are huge. But the basic one, like the basic stuff is exercise, nutrition, meditation, sleep. And you really have to give a huge priority to that, because otherwise, this is just my opinion, in the long term, if you feel this pressure at this point in time, this is the right time to start, So that would be my piece of advice.
We in the course, Olavo, we say that dentists are high performance athletes.
Yeah.
So like Cristiano Ronaldo, so you have to take care of yourself. So and the what you said is very important. So dentists focus a lot on the hard skills, on the technical skills, and they forget the other part. And it's not that they forget, it's that no one teaches them. And it's like it's not important. And in the beginning, you are so focused on the technical part, because when you are out of the university, you also, like you said, you have to invest in yourself. You have to learn more. And then at a certain moment, you realized, okay, something is missing here. So, and it's the soft skills or human skills, like Simon Sinek calls them. And like you said, also financial awareness, it's so important. So, and it's going to be fun to talk about all of this with you, and I think it's going to be lots of fun.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Sorry, we already talked about the soft skills, so I think you can go to the next question of work-life balance.
I was going to because you have a baby, you have a private practice, you are starting a training center, you travel. So how do you balance everything? Because this is a big thing, and we also do this question to every of our guests, because this is a big thing for dentists. How to manage this work-life balance? How have you been able to do it? Do you feel that you have been able to have that balance? And tell me if it's easier do you think if it's easier in the Netherlands? Do you guys have conditions for that balance? Or because, like, for example, in Portugal, sometimes you work from 9 o'clock until 9 in the morning until 9 in the evenings, 6 days a week. But I can imagine also in the Netherlands, I mean, with the private practice, you have to work, and being an owner, you have all the work now extra from that. How have you been able to manage that part?
So first, I have an amazing partner at home that is a massive help. That's all the kudos to her, because without her, nothing would be possible. And she really drives me in a lot of manners. We really always try to push each other to be the best version of us. And of course, now with the baby, and it's funny, we had this conversation maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had this conversation with her that I really miss sports, because we were sporting 6 times a week, having one rest day, and we were going to the gym together for 1.5 to 2 hours every day after work. And the for me, that was really a way to not just stay physically healthy, but also it helps me really mentally, because I go there and I couldn't remember anything that happened during the day, because I was so in that moment and I could just disconnect from everything. And then Milo came in late January, and now, like, when George was saying about how the love, the loss, and the discipline, I felt a kind of love that I never felt in my life. The love for a son. I was never a father, and so I stopped working one day, so I went from 5 days to 4 days. But still, that day is the day that somehow I can squeeze some sports in, because my partner is still in the maternity leave, so I can still we can try to combine, or we try to do it together. But I I I honestly must say that at this stage, my work and personal life balance is a bit unexisting. There are I don't have any boundaries at the moment, because I go to work. I start at 9 and I finish at 5:30. Um, and being working on a referral basis brings an extra load of administration, sending all the reports every day to the referring dentist, doing the cost estimations, making sure that all the administration, and then on parallel the administrative work that comes from the office. And that's really something that I'm trying to work on, is trying to delegate a lot more, and we are trying to find someone, a practice manager, someone that really can manage the office, and that we just say, you know what, you pay the salaries, you take care of the orders, you just I just and like I said, I am a
If you
dentist.
find that person, you have to bring it to the course.
That's in the plan. So I really
Yeah.
are still really working on it, and honestly, it's at the moment is not existing, and it's something that is taking a massive toll in my life, because when I start doing something, I don't do the things halfway. I go to the end, and by going to the end is, yes, when I started this training center plan with Roberto, we started this the year before, not knowing that my partner was pregnant, and I just cannot say at the moment, you know what, let's postpone it 1 year. It would feel as a failure to me. So I would say that it is quite non-existing, and I really am trying to find the strategies at the moment to get to it. But I just prioritize spending time with my son. Every day I finish at 5:30. We are going to finish this podcast, and you know what I'm going to do? I need to log in remotely to work, because I still have some administration pending of today that I really need to finish, and that's
Oh
not
my God.
healthy.
Then we need to finish.
So
Last question.
Yeah. Well, so how do you see the future of dentistry, especially in endodontics and dentistry in general? Where do you see the professional is going? Do you think it's AI? Do you think it's technology? Do you think it's robots? Do you think it's in endodontics, for example?
I would
How do you see it? It's still going to be so mechanical, or you think it's going to be just something like you just suck the pulp in, you just inject something, and in 5 seconds it's done?
Well, I read something on the news. They are trying to grow teeth now, like in Japan, like the sharks. Also, they can keep growing the teeth. So if that happens, maybe I'm out of job in 5 or 10 years if they can make it. So then I really need to find a career change for for me. how do I see the future of dentistry? So I will start first with the general part of the dentistry, because one thing that I've been saying for many years, that I really think that the concept of general dentist should stop, or can still exist, but it's impossible to have someone that is good at all the different aspects of dentistry. So I would expect dentistry to follow the same path that medicine did follow, and that you will just have the general dentist doing the regular checks and some fillings, and really then just, okay, you need a root canal treatment, you go to the endodontist. You need a crown, you go to the restorative dentist. So that's where I hope I would see the future of dentistry like this, because I really, like I said, I don't believe you can be good. You can maybe be good at one or two things, but being good at orthodontics and oral medicine and rehabilitation, occlusion, it's impossible. I cannot see. So that's why how at least I would like to see dentistry. In endodontics, it's really, I honestly, it's so difficult to foresee any change in what we are doing, and that comes because I really do believe that endodontics didn't change that much in the last 30, 40 years. The instruments did change. Yes, we are fast, but we are still rinsing with EPO, and now they are trying to introduce and lasers but it's again it's going to be the question: is that really going to be the game changer? I don't think so. I really, honestly, if we have this conversation again in 20 years, I'm pretty damn sure that we are going to still be doing endodontics in the same manner. Maybe we are going to be having better imaging, but that was also one of the problems with the better imaging when CBCT came around. Was it was this an amazing technology? We just saw our success rates reducing from when we were using. We used to have the success rates in the 85, 87%, and then just reduced to 80%. And so the Pandora box opened a bit. So technology will come with the cost, but I really do not see a lot of changes. AI, in terms of diagnosis, I really do think that is going to be a massive help. Robots, perhaps in terms of the I would say the dynamic sort of dynamic navigation that we can, like it happens with the implant and also in the surgeries, that you can dynamic navigate a bit like a GPS, so you can see, okay, the canal is here, you drill here, but it's really difficult for me to see it, because I've been doing endodontics since 2016 exclusively, and if you ask me what I'm doing in 2024 differently, I just like, maybe I went from the size 35 in the canals, 3504, to the size 25, but there are so many biases that even in me and even in the profession, that I think it will take more than a generation to break. So there has to be, and evidence-based. Everybody wants to be evidence-based dentistry, and nobody accepts the difference without a proper study. So I think that in 20 years we'll still be doing the same procedures we are doing as of today, unless the teeth can be grown in the mouth. Other than that,
Yeah.
but I hope that we can have some specialties in dentistry, and that's going to be really working in a multidisciplinary office where it's a bit like an hospital. I would expect that to happen.
It can even observe much more colleagues if that happens. I totally agree with you. Okay, Olaf, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. It was a really
Very
good,
nice story.
good conversation. Thank you so much for your time, for sharing your journey with us, and for the ones listening, we are going to be in Amsterdam 28, 29, and 30 of November.
Exactly.
So join us if you want to join us, and we will put all the information in the show notes. So again, Olavo, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure. Thank you.
No,
Really
thank you for having
inspiring
me.
and and motivating story. That was very nice.
Thank you really for having me, and I'm really looking forward also to welcome both of you in November in Amsterdam. We are our website is going really live in the next week, so we are really saw the final version this week. So
nice.
You guys can start taking the registrations, and I'm really sure that it's going to be an amazing course. I'm really looking forward to it, and once again, thank you for the invitation, and we keep in touch.
Thank you, Olavo, and thank you everyone that is listening. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Soft Spice podcast. We would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Please leave a comment or connect with us on social media. Your comments and messages will help us to know you and our profession a little bit better so that we can offer real value in return. And if you like it, please subscribe. If you want to learn how to be a leader and drive change in dentistry, take a look at our Conscience Leadership course at softbites.online.